this panel, you were asked about mental health representation in the show, and this season you obviously touched on it a little bit in The Therapist. We wondered, was this already in the works? Did the question inspire it? And also, will we ever see Jake in actual real therapy?
Actual real therapy?
Yeah.
I have to say that we had been talking about it before the panel for quite some time, and we also have been aware that on the internet, etc., there have been people who've been talking about it and talking about Jake having OCD and Jake having ADHD and Amy having OCD.
It's also a very real issue for police, the thing we talked about. Like, it's actually
other mental health.
And I wish some stuff got cut, but it is a very it speaks to what's interesting about the show, which is, and one of the reasons we balked at telling that story a little bit before is you want to tell a general story about mental health and what therapy means to people, but it's also a very specific thing of what it means for police officers, and that can be interesting, but it also means they're in a different situation than a lot of normal people, and you want to sort of tell a story that is applicable and approachable to the audience, but also acknowledges the fact that that mental health is different when you're you face dangerous situations all the time, when you deal with death and you deal with life.
I think in terms of whether we would address it again or show him in real therapy, I think sure, if the story called for it. I think the danger, obviously, and I think we had some very funny stuff when he was in therapy, would be making light of it too much, perhaps. But I was just watching an old Bob Newhart where he's a therapist, and it's hilarious. So I certainly wouldn't rule it out.
I think we solved it.
We solved it. Yes, we solved it.
And I think it's on to the next important social issue that we can solve in 21 minutes. That we can just.
Could you say your name when we speak this over?
Yeah, sure.
Jake and Amy have had a lot of really great, subtly great moments, like when she packs the Die Hard cosplay and he does the staycation. Do you have anything planned for this next season for those just that wonderful moments of people who really do love and understand each other as a couple?
Yeah, I think that those moments will be sprinkled throughout. I mean, we're very conscious of trying to make them a believable couple that truly loves each other and truly knows each other and supports each other, and definitely. We're always looking for moments.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of those are weirdly we know. There's a moment this year that stuck out to me in Ticking Clocks when they're all rushing around and Amy comes up and Jake, she does the bib on from the dentist. She's run right for the dentist, and Jake just very quietly takes the bib off. And I think that was just that's a set moment. We've talked to Andy a lot, Andy and Melissa, about they understand the power of those moments, and the staff does, and it's often those. It's a tiny, unsaid little thing. It's just a kindness between them. It's not a big speech. It's not a big story that really makes the relationship great. And I think we're always looking for them, but they're not the things we plan out. They're the things that you find when you're just writing a scene. They're the things you find when you're on set.
My 5-year-old ships them.
Okay.
Yeah, he loves them. He freaked out when they pulled them. I think that this season especially really nailed allyship. And I think that it has before with Captain Holt being a really good ally for women. And I think that Andy just portrays that really well. And I think that for you, I think as the creators, that's something that, as white men, that you can kind of bring to the table. So what are your thoughts? Is that intentional? And then how do you do allyship in your real life?
I'm Dan Goor. It is intentional. I mean, for instance, when we did the Rosa coming out story, it was really important to us that it was Jake, who's her good friend and ally, who's along with her on the story, and that it's important to her. And so, yes, it is an important thing. How do I do that in real life? I guess just trying to be as good and supportive a person as possible to people. It's a hard question to answer on the spot.
I mean, it is.
Do you have a good answer for that?
No, I mean, I would say it's a very hard.
You're not an ally.
I would say it's a very hard thing.
It's a horrible joke.
It's a hard thing to write because I'd say you often the thing that's the easiest to write is people taking action, and a thing that was very difficult.
You don't want to write a savior kind of thing.
Yeah,
to be supportive without being a savior.
Yeah, and the thing is how to I just find it's actually a thing that I find it incredibly difficult, is how to write a moment where you show that Andy is supportive of Amy and he understands what she's going through and he listens to what he's going to do without having him take over a scene, take over a plot. And it's just, honestly, it's just a real challenge to get those scenes right. Andy has incredibly good instincts for them. He often on set will we'll feel those moments. I mean, even beyond the big social issues, we did one story I liked this year, and I thought we could do it more than the big social issues. There was like the one with Charles and the adoption, where the story was essentially Charles was going through a very complicated situation with an adopted son and the boy's birth father showing up, and it's a complicated emotional thing, and Jake's natural instinct was to try to fix the situation and try to be a good friend, and he kept trying to take action, and the story we ended up trying to tell was where every time he took action, it backfired because Charles was changing his mind, because you're allowed to change your mind when you go through something really difficult emotionally, and the end of the story was Charles saying, like, sometimes what I need is just for you to be there and listen and support me when I do one thing and then support me when I do the other thing, and being a good friend doesn't mean rushing in to save the day, it just means being there. And that was, I think, I was very proud of that story, and I think it's very hard.
On a personal level, I think, we were very excited that Melissa and Stephanie directed this year, and we were really, when they came to us and asked, it was an immediate yes. I mean, we were really, that was important to us. So I think that, when opportunities like that present themselves, those are opportunities we're really happy to see.
Thank you.